It's crazy to think that the Super Bowl was actually completely powered by renewable energies, which is awesome. But I'm making sure that every minute lights are on and Usher was able to sing without any interruptions.
Hey, I powered Usher's concert.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Welcome back to another episode of Sounds of Solar. I'm your host today, Russell Hamilton, and I am accompanied with...
Prahlad Shivshankaran here.
As you can see, Chris Bruin is still not here. He's still in the Southwest doing his bike tour and whatever else he's doing out there with his wife. We miss you. Can't wait for you to come back. So, Prati, how's it going?
It's going well. I think, just been traveling around. So went to Vegas for a little bit with family.
How was Vegas?
Vegas was fun.
Yeah.
Wanted to show my in-laws. I think my father-in-law's dream is since he's visiting the US, his dream has been to go to New York and then to Vegas. So Vegas is off the checklist.
Okay.
New York is next. So next weekend I'll be...
Next weekend
I'll be traveling to New York. Yeah, just got some surprises for him set up. So yeah.
Very cool.
So what about you?
I think the fun new big thing that I did was we'll talk about it a little bit later, but I was in Colorado a couple weeks ago at the RMEL conference, and I was speaking there. But after it was done, one of my coworkers took me up to the mountains and we climbed St. Mary. I think it's St. Mary's Glacier, and we'll put like a video or a photo right here of the adventure that we had. It was pretty wild to be that much elevation and be on it was a little glacier, but hey, it was a glacier nonetheless, and it was pretty cool.
Work plus fun is the best.
Work plus fun, right? Yeah. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. He took us to some really cool restaurants. This place that was very unique. I think it's called the Golden Hill or the Golden Grill. I don't know, something like that. You walk in, you give them your credit card, they swipe it, then they give you these different cards that now your credit card is on those cards. And then you just walk up to all the different vendors and you're like, I want 4 tacos. And you just put it there.
Oh, nice.
And like, you want something to drink, that a bunch of taps for beer. You'd walk up and you'd put your card on it and then you'd pull the tap and then it'd fill up your cup and then you'd close the tap. And it was just very interesting. Yeah.
No, it reminds me of Malcolm Yards. I think, I think they have the same kind of setup where you just have a card and you can go and then just not unlimited, but I guess just pulls it from your credit card. Maybe that's how they get you, but
yeah. But well, and I had a couple people with me, so it was like my card and then like 3 other cards, and everybody was just kind of running around. And they had these really awesome tacos, but they're $5 a piece. And I'm looking at them, they're like this big. I was like, how is this taco $5 a piece? But I think we ate like $100 worth of tacos between the 3 of us.
Oh wow, nice.
They were really, really good. So there was a conference. So Sid is for those of you who don't know, Sid is another power studies project manager. He's my coworker. We work together on a lot of projects. Him and I were lucky enough to be invited to the RMEL conference in Westminster, Colorado. So the RMEL conference is a smaller conference that's put together by local utilities and EPCs in that Denver, that Colorado, Wyoming, New Mexico kind of area. And they've been putting it together for years, and they just talk about, hey, these are our topics, these are our struggles, these are our new technologies, this is what we've seen, this is the trend of the industry.
Nice.
So we were invited to come and talk, and we talked about what we know, right? We know EVS, so we did an intro to what EVS culture is and what EVS does as a company, and then we just dove right into power studies.
How did the conference find you, or you find the conference? I think there's an interesting story behind that, right?
So give a shout out to Leo. Leo is one of my direct reports. We hired him a couple months ago. He used to work at WAPA, and he used to participate in this conference, and his old supervisor reached out to him and asked him, would EVS be interested in coming and speaking at this conference? And so once Leo asked me that, we just started talking internally about it and decided that, we would love to go and speak. And it was quite interesting. It was a 2-day conference and multiple different presentations, and it was really cool. Our presentation had the most questions afterwards. So people were very excited to hear what we had to say. People came up to us afterwards that work on the utility side and said, we had no idea that on your side that you have to do all these different studies to validate the design, and made some really good context there. as well. So
it was probably was it your first time presenting in like a big conference?
It was my first time presenting. Same with Sid. So everything we practiced went right out the window the second we started talking. The night before we're like in my hotel room, we're like, okay, well, we ran through it, right? Like just real quickly, high level. And then it was gone. It wasn't even there. So just winged it. But it went well.
Nice.
I felt like I spoke too quickly during it, but watched the video and it didn't seem like I spoke too quickly.
Nice.
So
very cool.
Yeah, it was really, really cool thing.
Cool. Yeah. I think I saw the pictures on Instagram where you were on top of like a hill, and I was like, are these guys actually in a conference, or is this?
So no, and that's super fair, right? So the second day of the conference was till like noon, right? And then we went out to lunch with there was somebody there that took us out to lunch. They wanted to have a business lunch. And when you're in Colorado, you have to do something, right? I'm not there very often. Colorado is amazing. I love the mountains and I love everything that they've got going on there. So I just asked Leo, I was like, is there somewhere close by where we can do a hike? And he was like, hey, I got a spot. It's about 45 minutes from where we're at.
Nice.
And just building on EVS culture, right? Andy and Dennis set the example very well of building relationships is just as important as getting work done. Obviously, we have to get work done.
Yeah.
That's we can't be a company without getting work done.
Yeah.
But building those relationships are really important. And Leo lives in Colorado.
And we have an office in Colorado as well.
Yep.
But
I don't get to see him in person often. I talk to him, every day through Zoom. But it was like, let's build this relationship. Let's bond. Let's go do something together. And
nice.
And Leo he's a beast. He is very, very fit. He is a mountaineering for sure. He had all the gear.
Nice.
We got there and he had everything we needed to do this thing. And he even brought he's a rock climber, and he was thinking he was going to get me to rock climb. I was like, nah, I'm good. But he had everything, ropes, harnesses, the whole nine, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm not acclimated. I think we started, 11,500 feet at the bottom. And I was, struggling with just, you don't get that oxygen.
Yeah.
And we get up there and, we get to this lake, there's this glacier lake. And then you see the glacier and he's just like, yeah, we'll just see how we feel when we get up there. We got options. And he's like, let's just look over here a little bit more. And he kind of got me to the base of the glacier. Well, I mean, we're at the base of the glacier. Might as well go up it, I'm just like, okay. So it was, and that's kind of how it went. And I got to a certain point and, I was just like, I think I'm going to stay here. Like, this is high enough for me and it's steep enough for me. I think I'm just chill here. And he went up a little bit farther and, I wish I would have with him, but I had the little crampons and he had big ones. So I was stepping, I was sliding. It was really cool. Yeah. Nice. So we did that. I don't know. It took us a couple hours and then we had a really good dinner with the Denver crew.
Nice. And then immediately you flew back to Minneapolis and got pied on. Is that what happened?
I did not get pied on.
Okay. You were on the list though.
Shockingly that I wasn't the one. I figured I was due because of what I did to Raj
had my vote,
last year.
Okay.
I got Raj pretty good. I didn't mean to have it that explosive, but it was good. And it was once Divya got put on the list, I knew she was probably going to be the one that got it. So thank you, Divya, for taking that one for me.
Divya's our director of HR.
Yeah. So Pie Day was a blast. Lots of pizza, lots of pie, lots of activities.
I actually loved the pizza. I was surprised. I thought there was just going to be one option with margarita, but I think it was nice.
Yeah, I like how they did that this year they had the pizzas made.
Bus? Yeah.
Well, we've had the school bus before.
Oh, okay.
But they had the pizzas made this time and they're like, okay, what slices do you want?
Right.
So previous years, you get in a line, you say, I want this specific pizza, and then they make it. And then so there's a long line of people waiting for the pizza and a long line of people ordering their pizza. And so it went much quicker yesterday. Sorry, I probably shouldn't say yesterday, but it went a lot quicker with just all these pizzas are made. You get 3 slices, pick the slices that you want. So.
Nice. No, and first I was hesitant to get the pizza. So I got the salad, the healthier version. I just set it on the table, went, grabbed the pizza, and next thing you know, the salad's on the side.
Yeah. What pie did you eat?
I had the artichoke heart. I don't know what the name.
No,
the pie.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
To be honest, I just tasted it because I'm not very sweet. I don't like sweets as much, so I don't know. I just got a little bit of it. So
which kind of pie though?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know? It was just a pie.
It's just
okay. Gotcha.
Don't ask me.
Okay. I had the pumpkin pie.
Okay.
There was a pickleball tournament, which I participated in. I played pickleball all of one time before this tournament. I didn't do very well.
Nice.
But it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was really cool. I don't even know who won.
So they transformed the basketball court to a pickleball court, right? Or something like that?
Yeah, we could show a picture here of the pickleball court. We just got it painted. And I guess it's regulation, size and everything. So it's a lot of fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
I should check it out. I was, So I heard there was a tournament. Do you know who won?
I was trying to think. I don't remember who won. I was there and I don't remember who won.
There's a prize, like 5 days of PTO.
Oh, you know who won?
No.
I do remember who won. I think it was Colin and Ryan.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Colin and Ryan from Substation.
And I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. They, I saw Colin in the morning go to play his first game and he comes out of the bathroom wearing basketball shorts and a t-shirt. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm ready. I'm winning. I'm like, okay, cool. All right. You know?
Should put a picture of that if you
I don't have one, but yeah, that'd be hilarious. Yeah. But it's funny because then by the time the championship game came around, I think he was in his regular clothes because he had just gotten off a call. So he was just in his regular,
He just mask off.
Yep. So yeah.
Very cool.
Congrats.
And is that the trophy for pickleball or no?
Yeah, we'll tell this quick story. Andy, this one's for you. Hope you don't mind that I'm sharing this with everybody. But so Andy Kim, our president, last year played on our my pool team.
Mm-hmm.
He played one night. He won both the games that he played, so he's undefeated.
Nice.
We were lucky enough, as we've told before, we've won the tournament, or not the tournament, the season. So, and we didn't know we were going to get anything, but started the second season, we all got these little trophies. I probably should have brought one in. It's about this size.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in the team got a trophy except for Andy because he didn't play enough nights to qualify to get a trophy.
Oh, wow.
So, we were joking for a couple weeks back and forth. He's like, oh man, I was the undefeated one. I'm just going to go get a big trophy and I'm going to, be super proud. It says it's undefeated and all this. And, just me being me, I just thought it'd be hilarious. So I went online and I created this trophy and I made it for Andy and I put it in his office. And so this is,
oh, wow.
this is Andy's 2023 undefeated 2-0 pool championship trophy. And he loves it. Right. So it's been on display in his office for a while. And then he had a real power move and we put up an awards shelf out in the front of the office, and this trophy now sits out. And so when you come into the office, that's the first thing he sees. This.
No, that must have been hilarious. You guys all go pick it up, and Andy's name is not called.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It was. I was like, "Where's Andy's at?" And they're going, "You're playing." I was like, "That's stupid. Like, who cares? He still played. Like,
Nice.
But I didn't know.
No, that's
so now he's part of the team.
Yeah. Very cool. How's this season going?
Up and down. We're in second place. Mm-hmm. It's up and down. Mm-hmm. I haven't played. I've been traveling the last couple of weeks, so I haven't got to play. But last week, my team got just destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll see.
They need you, Russ.
What's that?
They need you.
No, I don't know if that was the case. It's just sometimes it happens. Sometimes just run into a better team.
Nice.
So all right. So we talked about Pi Day, which was a success. Oh, here's a quick funny story. I met, her name is Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know her last name. And she is a lawyer who is on a committee for EVS that helps for investments, I believe. That's what she said. And so if people don't know, I'm really good at foosball. And apparently her and Andy had been talking about me and foosball before she came to the office. And she kind of comes up to me yesterday and she's like, Russell, let's play some foosball.
Mm-hmm.
And she was so good. I beat her. But she is so good. And she was so intense that the game we played, I think I was down 5-0 in the beginning. I was like, oh my God, I'm not ready for this.
Oh, wow.
She was so good. I came back and beat her. But that was a lot of fun to have her come in and come play some foosball with us.
I played so much soccer in my life, but I can't play foosball. I was so bad. I just stopped playing because I was getting, I think I was playing with Peter Lawson from the civil team.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's good.
He destroyed me 8-0. I was like, dude, this is no way I'm coming back to this game if you keep beating me 8-0 or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But it's a fun game.
Yeah.
So, very cool.
All right, let's move into kind of the topic of the podcast. It's good catching up, but we kind of wanted to touch on the projects that we've done and completed and kind of what they're doing out there in the world. And the big one, right, that maybe folks don't know about, that's pretty huge, is the Arrow Canyon project, which we worked on, we engineered and completed, was it is a, I believe it's 150 megawatt with DC coupled BESS.
It's 200 megawatt solar.
200 megawatt.
With 375 megawatt hour BESS. And it's a 5-hour discharge.
5-hour discharge.
So
it powered the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Which is a huge, huge deal.
I think Mark Cuban says Super Bowl. I don't know if that's how he says it, but yeah.
So it's the first time ever, right, that the Super Bowl is entirely powered by renewable energy. And the fact that it was DC coupled BESS is the reason why it was able to power it during the day and at night. So why don't you touch a little bit on...
Yeah, and just a little bit before that, I was actually in that area during the Super Bowl time. So I was in Vegas and we were going to visit Grand Canyon at the same time. But we did, as we were driving, we stopped by and like we saw a lot of these solar farms. So, but it's crazy like that, to think that the Super Bowl was actually completely powered by renewable energy, which is awesome. But I think the main takeaway for me was that it was a DC coupled project, right? Like I know in the show Mike's been on and he's talked about DC coupling, and we've just kind of talked about DC coupling and whether it's dead or alive, but like you can see, it's clearly it's alive and it's thriving and it's actually powering the Super Bowl as well. So I think just with DC coupling, the whole idea is that you can get this extra solar during the day, during peak hours, is saved in the batteries. The energy is saved in the batteries and discharged during the night. So your overall, let's say your duration that your plant works is now extended. So yeah, I think it's super cool. I think the technology was Canadian Solar bifacial modules with Powin battery technology. So I think they had the Centipede stack. That's the Powin technology. So it's very cool.
I was fortunate enough. I did the grounding study for that project. That was one of the first projects that I did when I first came to EVS. And before I became a project,
you just got thrown into
that one, and it was definitely, it's DC coupled BESS, so it was very challenging. It was a very challenging project and very rewarding when it was finished. And very exciting to know that something that I worked on is powered the Super Bowl. When we went to RE Plus in September, when we were coming into Las Vegas, we actually, unfortunately, I was on the wrong side of the plane. But on the other side of the plane, a bunch of EVS folks could see Arrow Canyon from the airplane as we were coming into land, which was pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
So
very cool. Yeah. And did you do the entire, like, what was some of the challenges that you guys faced with the grounding? Because DC coupling, like, I think my previous job was all about DC coupling. So I have a soft spot for DC coupling.
Sure.
But then, like, it does come with challenges, and especially with the grounding, I think just figuring out galvanic isolation between DC and the AC, like what was some of the challenges that you had to face? And
so I think what you're talking about is a little bit different than what we're doing for the grounding study, because you're more talking about like how is it going to be connected and operated, and so that's not typically what we're doing with the grounding study. But the challenges that we did face it was the first time, I believe it was the first time we were doing a DC coupled BESS project, and where that battery system is right next to the inverter in the PV array.
Yeah.
The challenge that we faced was, how are we supposed to bond the battery equipment? What does the owner's installation manual recommend? What do we need it to do to pass the grounding step and touch potentials? And so just not really knowing, should we have, so like a typical inverter, you'll have a ground ring around it, and then you have two whips that go from the ground ring to the inverter to either the grounding bus on the AC side, and then as well as the chassis to ground the chassis. Some inverters have internal grounding, so the chassis doesn't need that extra whip. But the question was, how many times, where do we need to install these whips on the battery equipment itself? And so that was a challenge. And then another big challenge, just like anything, we did our 90%, and then they decided to move where the inverters were going to be located, especially the best coupled inverters. So that was another challenge. The substation was is very close to the solar project, and so that was also another challenge, just trying to figure out that we're having issues with high side fault at the substation affecting the PV and BESS side. So just trying to figure out unique solutions. We had to do some really unique stuff that I hadn't done before to mitigate that. So
And is the whole process with the grounding just avoid, because it's a subject I'm still trying to figure out. And even though we are in the electrical side, I think the groundings, the whole topic about grounding still evades us a little bit.
Sure.
But what's the whole point of grounding, I guess? And then also like what was with that challenge that you were talking about, are you trying to like make sure there's circular loops that are avoided, ground loops that are avoided? Is that?
So it's a great question. So I'll start with your second question first. There are going to be no ground loops because the entire grounding system needs to be connected together for the entire system. So you might have different parcels everywhere, but the grounding of that is going to always come back to the MPT at the substation. So everything's connected. So there's not going to be any isolated grounding sections.
Okay.
Except for the fence, potentially. So the perimeter fence we treat a little bit different. And your first question, what's the purpose of the grounding study? We could do a whole episode on this, and maybe we will in the future.
Yeah.
But it's about safety. It's about human safety. So ensuring that step and touch potentials are within the IEEE ranges. And what that means is, I'll start with step. If your feet are here, and you're stepping, right? There could be a difference in potential between your 2 feet. And if there's a ground fault, we need to make sure that the system is designed in such a way that you won't die. You won't get hurt from the difference of potential where your 2 feet are. And touch is what it sounds like. It's where you're standing on the ground and you're touching a piece of equipment. So if there's a ground fault during that time, you need the system to be designed in such a way that you can be touching that equipment, the ground fault happens, and the system's designed so where you're not going to die. You're not going to get hurt. Wow. So that's the purpose of grounding. There's other ideas of, well, that's grounding study, right? The grounding, there's equipment grounding, which is important to protect the equipment. And that's really dictated out. I think we use the NEC mostly to determine how to protect the equipment properly, and owner's installation manuals and things like that.
Okay. And all that's important mainly because at the end of the day, like just installing them won't just suffice, right? You need to make sure that all these intrinsic elements or electrical elements are all taken care of, I guess. So that's kind of how your Super Bowl was probably powered, making sure that you every minute, lights are on, and like they were saying, Usher was able to sing without any interruptions. So
hey, I powered Usher's concert. You're welcome. You're welcome.
So and we got to see Taylor Swift. So
she was there.
Yeah,
her team won.
I know a lot of people just watched the Super Bowl this time because Taylor Swift was there.
With Tay-Tay. So I get a lot of crap from some of my dark reports because I tease them because they're big Taylor Swift fans. I really don't care either way, but it's like, oh, who cares? And they just get all offended.
The other thing that I was reading about was how this particular, I think Arrow Canyon itself is in tribal lands. So it's interesting how they were able to like work together with the tribal folks to actually get this built and done. So it's pretty cool to see how they're using land that's available and then working with the community that's the caretakers of those land, and making sure that they were also part of the whole process as well. So I think it's just a beautiful story to see it all be powered renewable, and it was basically done by in land that's Native American land. So it's pretty cool.
That segues to like just other projects that we've done. We can talk about a little bit like what are other exciting big things we're doing here at EVS. And when we're talking about BESS right now, we're working on a project that is the largest BESS project in the world, and that's a big deal.
When I saw those numbers, I thought people were like, "Oh, maybe it's a typo or something." But those numbers are crazy.
So that's a really big deal. I think it's going to be a lot of a lot of fun to see what that's going to power in the future, and just kind of moving on to other projects that we've completed that are we do a lot of projects in California, and we've done a lot. There's a project that's under construction right now. That's another DC coupled BESS project that's in Southern California, and that's. To me, it's really cool to work on something where California obviously has brownouts. They have an energy crisis out in California. Obviously, like a ton of EV vehicles causing grid issues. So to be part of projects that are so large that are helping to solve those issues is pretty cool. And we've completed, 4, 5, 6 projects in Kern County alone. That's going to power quite a bit of Southern California.
And is that one of the most difficult counties to actually get a project?
Kern County is very difficult with their permitting with BESS.
With BESS, okay.
I don't know that it's as difficult with the PV, but it typically, from my experience, is coming down to fire protection and like interpreting fire protection. Like we spoke with Eliza about using permitting based on different industry standards. I think that's some of what's going on here. So for the one particular project, it's a DC coupled BESS. They are energizing all the inverters for the PV only because they couldn't get permitting for the BESS. So now they're going to come back after the fact, now that they've got permitting for BESS, and install the BESS while the PV is live, which is something that typically doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's going to be quite interesting. I'll be going out there next month to do a site visit to make sure that their temporary grounding is done properly and keeping everybody safe. Nice. So.
No, and it's also crazy. Like, I think one of the other things with these BESS projects is it offsets some of the demand. Like, even with like I don't want to keep going back to the Super Bowl, but like, when the Super Bowl was, if it wasn't for the renewable energy, there's probably a peak demand at that time, and people would have probably paid a higher rate during that portion of the time when the Super Bowl was live. So, but now that it's offset by this renewable energy, it's kind of crazy that it impacts people outside of just the ones who attended the Super Bowl, right? So yeah, I think a lot of our projects have impacts outside of just the owner and everybody else. So it's pretty cool to see that. So
yeah, some other big projects that we do. Texas, I think, is another really good a good example of large projects in Texas. And if anybody knows anything, Texas has its own grid, right? ERCOT, and they're going very renewable focused. Yeah. And it's really cool to be working on projects where they're taking land that otherwise is pretty desolate. It's not farmable, not ranchable kind of land, and they're putting these solar projects there to help beef up their grid with renewable power. And I couldn't tell you how many projects I've done that are in Texas alone. Maybe, I don't know, 12, 13 projects that I've worked on. I'm sure you've worked on a bunch of projects in Texas.
Yep. So, and the scale, everything is big in Texas as well.
Everything is big in Texas. I did a 608 megawatt project in Texas, which was huge. Yeah.
No, I know which project that is. It was crazy to see that project. Like, just seeing the design and the plans, it's insane.
It was wild. I think it was like 170 inverters or 169 inverters.
And you guys were like shimming from oil.
The underground oil everywhere. Underground oil pipelines everywhere. And then it was wild because then there was like undocumented oil pipelines that like they'd start doing construction. Wait, this wasn't on any of our information, you know. So it was the crossings were wild in that project.
No, I can only imagine. So it was crazy. So.
Yeah. What other, we do big projects in Florida as well. I mean, there's 74.5, but we do a lot of those projects in Florida, which is obviously, helping Florida with the renewable goals as well. So
yeah, I think it's the big three of California, Texas, and Florida that we kind of always speak about. Yeah. The ones that are leading the charts. So.
Yeah. But to be fair, I got a project in Kansas right now that I just got back from a site visit on where it was really interesting to be out there. There was a massive wind farm in the same location of this solar that they're putting in. Oh, wow. And so it was kind of neat to see and kind of talk to the team. Our client actually built the wind farm, and now they're back building the solar. And so it's quite interesting to see, this is an area where there's just not a lot of people. It's a lot of farmland, right?
Is the wind farms actually loud? Or no?
I couldn't hear it. No, that's good. Is that the complaint that they're loud?
I've seen those online. Like
I didn't hear anything. I don't know, but yeah. So it's pretty cool to see, like even in the states that aren't California, Texas, or Florida that we're there, right? Kansas. I know we're in Illinois, New Mexico. There's more. I'm not thinking of the top of my head, but Ohio.
There's some in Illinois as well that we're doing like a lot of DG projects. So it's pretty cool. Like, it'll be interesting to see what those DG projects are later on powering. I know like there's a lot of like microgrid projects and stuff. So you never know, it may end up just powering a hospital or something like that. So yeah, very cool. So Russ, of all these projects that we've spoken about, which one makes you super proud? Which is your highlight?
So I got two that I'll talk about. The first one, I'd say this one definitely is number one, is a project that I did in Illinois. And The reason why is my most proud project is because it was the first project that I did as a project manager. And when I had one project and I was project managing one project, and I was able to learn a lot. It was a very successful project. As far as projects go, it was one of the easiest projects from start to finish, as far as there wasn't major design changes, there weren't mistakes. And then I'm so proud because I was able to go after everything was commissioned, go on site, and we did a lessons learned with the construction team, and they were really happy with, obviously they had feedback, but they were really happy with what we did for that project. So that, to me, I feel really a lot of pride that was my first one, and completed it from start to finish.
Nice.
My next one would be that large 608 megawatt project, only because of the size. It was the largest project that we had done at the time. I know we're looking at some that are bigger than that now, but that was a very big challenge to take on, based on the things we talked about, the oil pipelines underneath the ground, 170 inverters, there were 10 different parcels or maybe more all over the place. And so that was another one that I took really seriously, and I was really, really proud of when it was finished. And I know you've worked on a ton of projects yourself. Which project or projects were you most proud of, and why?
Yeah, like you said, I don't think I've reached that stage where I've taken a project all the way through and then seen it constructed and then gone back and visited it. But I think just from my short time here, I was able to help. It was a battery project that I was working on. It was about 100 megawatt. And I think the original drawings were done by somebody else, and it didn't work. There were some issues, and then they came to EVS for support. And it was a small team that they had, and they were trying to, somehow get this project done and get it permitted. And yeah, I was supporting it, and I was doing things for them that's not typical and not standard for us. I think a lot of times we have standard processes, like Eliza was saying. We have like a training plan, like we just go step by step, and it helps us stay tight with respect to the schedule. But this was something that, I had to help them support some interconnection with some interconnection questions. Okay. I didn't have the experience with it, but long story short, at the end of the day, I think he really enjoyed working with me, and he kind of gave that feedback to Colin,
nice,
who won pickleball.
Yes.
So, yeah. And then I think he was here. Yes, he was there during the Pi Day, and I didn't get to meet him, but
the client was.
Yeah, the client was, and he remembers me, so he kept asking about me. So yeah. So I think that I was proud that I was able to help him, even though it wasn't my expertise or it was outside our domain. And then the other one is just getting a project to 90%. There was a project I worked with. It's a challenging project, and a lot of wetlands running through the site. And it was my first 90 IFC, and you see your name written on the plan set. I think I was pretty proud, at the end of the day, with all the challenges that were there, we were able to get a plan set, and to think that it would, be constructed with whatever your drawings of what's going to be constructed. So pretty proud of that. So I think those are the two highlights for me.
Well, to wrap it up, is there any final thoughts you have for anything?
Final thoughts, Chris, we went AWOL, so we miss you, but
we miss you, Chris.
Yeah.
Come back to us safe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody, and we'll catch you next time.